was Graffiti Park last night. Yeah, we did a corporate gig in Markham, and those are always interesting gigs. You know, there's always a good handful of people that are just raring to go because it's the Christmas parties and stuff like this too. And I mean, we all as working musicians take the corporate gigs and like the corporate gigs because they pay well.
They
And
pay, yeah.
the people that I'm playing with, I've been playing with off and on, basically that crew for over 20 years. So it's
Cool.
pretty nice to be able to sit down with some family and amazing musicians and just make some music and make a bit of dough and have some fun and you know.
Get in the Christmas spirit. Those corporate parties are fun. One of the things I kind of find hilarious about them is you get the people that are there to party, and then you get the people that maybe drink once a year,
I saw a few of
and
them.
they lose their minds and
You guys gotta play this song. Yeah,
play something we can dance to.
well, yeah, that's cool. And we even had a guy come up and play some drums for a couple songs.
Oh
You know,
wow,
I just said, yeah, use my kit, man. I don't care. Like, go ahead. And he was good.
it's a
You know,
party now, right?
yeah, people are up there singing and stuff. So those are the kind of things that you don't get that often when you're doing different kinds of gigs, you know?
Right. Well, when you're used to doing like great big shows and arenas and stuff like that, I think it might be kind of cool to just have that intimate sort of, where you're kind of one on one with the crowd and you're mingling with them, and that it might be kind of a nice change sometimes, I would imagine.
Yeah, you're hanging out with the president, the CEOs of all these companies, the company that you're working with, and they're just down to earth, regular people, and they're wanting to show their appreciation because most of them right now have never haven't had a party in over 2 or 3 years. So
Right.
COVID, so they're just everybody's stoked to just eat and drink and dance and do some have some fun. So
Forget about life for a while, and you've been enjoying a pretty exciting career. I mean, we're obviously going to get to to some of the that we're going to go past, present, and future. But you're busy these days with a ton of projects, and so we're going to talk about all these. I have a question for you. I don't know if this
okay.
is true or not, but do you also act?
I've done some acting stuff. I guess it was kind of looped in through some friends and Headstones when I was with Headstones. I mean,
Cool.
Hugh always dragged the band into things that he was doing, which was always good. You know, we always got
Right.
to take our charge in that. I mean, we got to help adapt screenplays for like Hardcore Logo and things like that as well. And so yeah, but I never really tried to pursue that.
Music is your love, right?
Yes, it is. I have to
Yeah,
say,
it
I'm
is.
more the stand back guy and be like, hey, you should do this guy. You can be a really pissed off dude, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm
I don't
always
know if that's a
laughing.
compliment or
Yeah, I'm like,
not.
oh, shut up.
Right on. And before I forget, I just want to give a huge shout out to our mutual friend Joey Greco for helping me
Yes.
set this up. Love Joey and Sonic X. They were on the show, and they're just super talented, amazing people, and I'm proud to call them friends. And so thanks to them. Also, quick shout out to my show sponsors, Writers and Rockers Coffee Company. I don't know if you've heard of this, Dale. That's super cool. So it's like I have the Queen City Kids dance blend here.
Okay.
And so the Writers and Rockers, it's just all Rockstar endorsed coffee blends, and there's all kinds of cool swag and mugs and all kinds of
You're
stuff.
gonna have to
So
hook me up.
I'll hook you up.
I like my coffee.
Right? Don't we all?
Yes.
Dale, one of the reasons that I was super excited about having you on is that you've been a member of two artists that I absolutely love. A lot of times it's, you have somebody from one group on and you love that group, and that's why you have them on. You just happen to be a little bit of a double threat where I'm concerned because I love the Headstones and I love Alannah Myles. And you have performed with both. You've been a huge part of both of those acts. And but you know what? We're going to get to that in a bit. But let's go back. And again, I know this question gets asked, but people kind of always want to know. Can you take us back to the beginning and tell us how you chose this as your path in life?
Uh, yeah, I guess I had to think about that one time when I was writing like a thing for Yamaha because I got endorsed by Yamaha 20 something years ago, and they said, "So what got you into drumming?" And I gotta say, it was probably like in grade 4, something like that. We were doing a play of the Little Drummer Boy in
Right.
French class. It was in French, so I grew up in Ottawa, and
There you go.
and my buddy had bongos, and I didn't have any bongos. And I was like, "Can I borrow your bongos to do it?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to be the drummer." I'm like, "Well, can I try too?" And he's like, "No, I'm going to be the drummer." And I'm like, "Okay." So he did his thing, and then I went, "Does anybody else play the bongos?" I went, "Yeah, I want to try." So I did, and then I got the gig.
You were 8 years old. I read you were 8 years old.
I was about 8, yeah, and I just got this little, kind of like I wanted to play drums, so I got a little bucket kit with some sticks and stuff, and he had to lend me his bongos to play in the play, and he didn't get. So that kind of stemmed me. Like I always like playing piano too. Like my grandmother was a piano player, so every time I was there, she'd always play piano, and I'd mess around with that. So, but drums are what's I thought hey, drums are cool.
Yeah.
Drums are cool. I get to hit things, and
Yeah, and get paid for it.
and luckily for me, I had a natural affinity to be able to do it. I had a bit of hand coordination, so it was like, so yeah. I just love to do it. And once you start getting into something, you just go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And in high school, I went, I am just going to do this. This is what I want to do for a living.
Right.
So,
And you're not just self-taught. Like you actually studied music percussion major at Humber College in Ottawa. So like you really learned your craft.
yeah, I was pretty lucky. I had some really good teachers in Ottawa, like Lauren Kelly, the late Lauren Kelly, and the late Chuck Burrows. These guys were monsters in the Ottawa area, and I was able to study with both of them, which they prepped me when I decided to go to Humber. So I auditioned for Humber and McGill and Concordia, and I actually got accepted to all of them, luckily. But I decided that Humber was the place I wanted to go. It was just the big smoke, Just thought if I went there and did this, then I have a better chance of making it. So.
Right, good idea. I think I'm down on with that one too. And so, who were some of your earlier drum influences?
My mother just not as a drummer, but
Right.
my mother influencing me to listen to June Krupa and Buddy Rich and all the jazz greats. I mean, Louis Bellson and stuff. I just was like, okay, these guys are like monsters. I'm like, I can't do that. They're like, well, you practice, you can get that good. And then,
Absolutely.
I'm still not that good, but I've tried.
I'm going to argue with you on that one, but I like the humble attitude.
I like your attitude, Kelly.
So were your parents obviously very supportive of you choosing this as a career? Sounds like.
Yeah, you know what? Funnily enough, my dad was the guy that played standing snare drum and cadets and stuff, and my mom was a figure skater and stuff. And but my mother was really way more supportive in that sense, where she drove me to and from drum lessons when I was young, and got me my first drum kit and things like that. My dad would go, "Well, you need a new seat. Here's a cymbal." So they did both their parts, and supporting me. And when I decided to move from Ottawa to Toronto for music, they just said, "Okay, well, good luck with that."
Off you go.
And it's like, "Well, we'll rent a U-Haul. We'll take you down." So I basically came down here with my girlfriend at the time and got an apartment. And she went to Ryerson, I went to Humber, and we made a go out of doing school for school, and we've both been doing what we want to do. I mean, she's still in social work, and I'm still in music. So,
right, and you're still together.
No,
I was going to say you're talking like I was like,
that
never happens.
No. Yeah, no, we're still friends.
Good stuff. Yeah. We're getting a bunch of comments, and I knew this was going to happen, so I'm just going to get to a few of them. Anthony Carrier, hi Anthony. He's saying, I remember the Headstones, Smile and Wave, and Tweeter and the Monkey Man. A few Dylan covers, a few other amazing songs. Medina Sebastian is saying hello. He's saying good night, Dale, but he's from Argentina.
Nice. Oh,
he's from Argentina,
okay.
so he means good evening. And hi, all the way from Argentina. Hi, Medina. Bruce Harrison. Know him?
My uncle.
I was going to say.
It's my Uncle Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Uncle Bruce from Winnipeg is in the house.
Uncle brother, that's what I call him.
Uncle brother. Right on.
Brother. Yeah.
UC, good friend of the show, is saying, hey, Kelly. Dropping by to say, hey, amigo. Hello, Dale. He's got a question for you, Dale, which is always cool. He says, musically, Dale, what sparked your passion? And what is your favorite all-time kit now and then?
That sparked my passion. The song Popcorn. I don't know if you ever know.
I know that song. Just the instrumental, yeah.
I used to play with that on sticks on a stool in my house. And you know what? I always loved rock and roll, but Jive Talking by the Bee Gees. Really, I just heard that groove.
That's a funky groove. That song has a funky groove.
Yeah, and like Stevie Wonder and stuff like that too. My mother was a huge R&B fan, so I had a lot of that growing up, and so I really kind of grew up with that kind of stuff. And then got into, of course, Led Zeppelin. I loved Ludwig drums. I had to get those, but I got Tamas, and then I went and I was looking at all the jazz guys when I was in school. I went, they're all playing Yamaha because they're just great drums. And then I managed to score an endorsement with Yamaha. So Yamaha is my drum of choice, absolutely. So
great. That was one of my questions for you. And so anyway, hope that's answers your question. You see, Joanne Doherty saying, "Hey Dale."
Hey Joe, how you doing? I guess I got some friends in
you got some friends in
we grew up beside each other when we were in the 70s, man. Like, holy crap.
Awesome. And another friend of yours just popped in, and it's none other than Joey Greco.
Joey Greco.
Joey Greco is probably eating pizza right now, but he says you guys rock. So hey Joey, thanks again. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks, Joey. He's awesome.
Great guy.
Such a talented guy. Like, and it's so humble. It's just ridiculous.
I know. Like the guy just like, oh, I'm up at 3 o'clock, like writing half an album. You know.
Yeah, I know. He'll just get a pile of coffee and do his stuff, and he's like, "Well, I just wrote like 4 songs last night." I'm like, "What the?"
It was a slow night.
Yeah.
Right on. So let's jump ahead. How do you wind up in the hugely successful band Headstones? How does that all come into fruition?
Well, when I first joined them, they weren't hugely successful.
A few sips.
They were on their way, I guess. I mean,
right.
I think they had released the first album in 2003 in December, and I joined in the spring of '94. So they had that album out for about 6 months, the first Picture of Health. And Mark Gibson had originally played the drums on the first album. And he was getting ready to leave. And so they were auditioning drummers. And they were looking at Creighton Dion, who was playing with Honeymoon Suite at the time.
Right.
My buddy was managing them, Wayne Diamond. And they wanted him. So they called up my buddy Wayne to see if he wanted to come down. And he said, no, he's got a gig. And coincidentally, I auditioned for the same gig with Honeymoon Suite, and I didn't get it. And Creighton got the gig. So I was kind of going, well, I don't care. I was getting jaded at auditioning for people. So when I went down with Headstones, I showed up late. I had grease on my hands. I changed the starter of my car. They kept pushing back the date of my audition. And so I just learned the whole album. So when I showed up, he wasn't even there. He was he was lying in bed in another room and listening. I sat there, smoked a pack of cigarettes with Trent and Tim. And we ran through all the songs, and we drank a couple pots of coffee, and then I left. And then they called me a couple of days later. He goes, "You smell like roses. Come down for their first rehearsal." So I met Hugh. He spit in my face. I spit in his face.
Like literally?
Yeah, literally. Then I met Joe Bamford, our manager. We went through like 4 songs, and then he says, "Okay, first gig's tomorrow, man. We'll see you then. We'll pick you up at a you know what?" So literally I started just like bam, just off the hat. I still had charts on a little snare drum on the side because I was going, well, I'm not sure how to get through all this stuff. But
right.
He would always just pick them up and shoot them on the floor and just learn the goddamn gig. So I was like playing Call the Office in London and stuff like that, smaller venues, but they were packed. And so we just started hitting the road hard. And we're like as it continued on later on, it was like a pirate ship in a van. It was like a journal on wheels, I used to call it. So we just kept trudging across the country and playing with everybody and anybody and playing everywhere. And then pretty soon we had a trailer with the van, and then we got a tour bus, and then we started to have money to get a crew, and then we started headlining our own tours and stuff. So it was just like it was a we were all making $100 a gig when I joined, which was good apparently. So
right, yeah, back then, yeah,
it was good
and happy to have it. Happy to have it.
Oh yeah, we got 2 gigs this week.
Yeah, it's $200, man.
Yeah. So, but as everything increases, it got better, and then we did the first record, like my first record, which was Teeth and Tissue, and we went to record that pretty much, I think, like a couple months after I joined the band, and then. It was kind of put off for a year to release, so we wrote some more stuff. So we went and recorded at Metalworks, and then we had more stuff to put on the album. And we just kept doing it that way. And then the next one was Smile Wave. So yeah, it was a whirlwind of fun, you know.
Is there ever a point where you're kind of blown away? And I always like to ask this question because us regular people, we just always wonder. Like, I'm a musician, and a lot of musicians watch
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
I saw that.
And
I was doing a little research on you, Cal.
well, half it's not true. No, I'm kidding. only the good stuff.
Yeah,
But we always wonder as musicians, what would it be like? Like you were mentioning early, Dale, how you auditioned for this band and didn't get it, not auditioned for that band and didn't get it. You get kind of jaded. But then I think the universe is like, no, honey, not that, but this.
one.
This is And so when that happens, are you slightly blown away by it? Like, is there ever a time when you're like, holy hell, I'm in the Headstones? Like,
Well, I've said this story before too, but the meeting of Hugh and that stuff, like playing 4 songs, spitting in each other's face. We had a couple beers. I said, I can't drink anymore. I gotta drive. So we went back to my house. We drank more of my beers. He spit on my floor and drank the rest of my beer, bumped $20 off me, and took off. And, oh yeah, he demonstrated how he cracked the windshield in the van of the van that we were to drive around in. I was like, "Where's your tour bus? You guys got a record deal?" He was like, "Oh, I lost the van." I go, "How'd you crack the windshield?" We're in my car, and he goes, "Well, I have the Headstones ring," and then he smashed it, and cracked my windshield. I was like,
why are you punching the freaking windshield?
"Don't worry about the record company; I'll take care of it." So I was kind of going, "What am I getting into?"
Right? Yeah, right. There's going to be shenanigans. I'd be thinking, I smell shenanigans.
Well, yeah, he was quite a loose cannon back at that time, those days.
Yeah,
And,
he's much better behaved today.
Well, he's sober. He's clean and sober, and he's got his faculty together, and he's living his life the way he wants to, which is good. And he's still alive and doing some really productive work, which I'm really happy for.
Good for him. Good. I applaud people that can go through that addiction,
sure.
And it's a hard road, and so good on him. And also Lee Canfield, he's a fellow drummer out of Edmonton. He's saying, hello, Kelly and Dale. Awesome show from one drummer to another. Keep on bashing the skins and rocking in the free world.
Thank you. You too, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. He's always popping in, and UC just wanted to thank you for answering his question. And you played with a lot of different people. Like I was doing my homework on you too, Mister, and I was like, wow, you've played with a ton of people. I mean, and Alannah Myles. We're gonna get to that too, because that's another one of my favorites. And actually, why don't we go with Alannah right now, and then we'll get into some of your more recent projects. Because were you playing with Alannah Myles while you were with the Headstone, or was that
on there was a time where it overlaps.
Okay.
Like Alannah, I got to know Alannah because I knew a lot of the guys in her band anyway. I knew Kurt and I knew Leo, and we used to do some bills that would involve Alannah and Headstones being on it. And
Cool.
So I got to know Alannah through that. And since I played with Leo on different projects when he was the musical director, they were going up and down with a bunch of different drummers because whatever various reasons, tours, availability, whatever. And I was available, so I got invited out to play for a bunch of shows. And Alannah remembered me too, and I remembered her. So we had a good rapport. And I had a good rapport with the musicians too. And I did my homework. So it was pretty easy to sit down and play all those songs with her because I've heard them, a lot of them, most of them, and I was like, okay, I like this stuff. I love the guys in the band, and it's a lot of fun. And she was doing really well. So, I mean, I got to go to a lot of cool places that Headstones hadn't brought me to at that point either.
Like Europe, and you guys
like all the way through Europe, yeah, through Germany and Sweden and stuff. It was just like, I'm like, this is cool. Yeah. I'm having a blast here. So, and Alannah is a really very talented woman, and she has her way of what she likes to hear and what she doesn't like to hear. And if you get that when you're playing with her, then everything goes off amazingly. I mean,
right.
Excuse me. So I was pretty happy to be able to play the hits that I heard on the radio forever too.
Right. Yeah.
Coming off stuff with her and then Headstones reuniting again in 2011. There was a couple overlap things that were happening, and so we almost had to make a decision whether I wanted to get back with the Headstones or stay playing with Alannah. But we managed to balance out quite a few of those things. And then Alannah just came off the road for a while to just start doing some writing and stuff, and so she just had to take care of her own personal business, and we just she got really quiet on her end for that matter, and still did some recording, whatever. But so Headstones took over. and
Makes sense, right? And so,
yeah,
what caused, if I may ask, what caused the hiatus?
the hiatus was
Like you had
huge.
a baby, like you became a couple. You became fathers, right?
Well, yeah, I became yeah. We all were. Say, Tim was a father before I even joined the band. And he had a
Right.
son Zorn, who was probably now 30. Um, but Trent and myself, and then Tim again during this time when we were in the Headstones became fathers again. So I became a father for my first time,
Oh,
and from '95 to '99 with my daughter and my son. And Trent had twins in that time around '99 or '98, I think. So yeah, it was different. We were still touring and doing our stuff, and it was kind of funny because I never imagined going on the road. You missed people, or your wife, or your girlfriend, or whatever, but you really missed your kids. You were gone because you'd hear the little voices when they could talk and
oh,
stuff. And, I miss you. Come home.
oh.
Oh, but there's huge rewards with all that. I mean, my kids are older now too. They're 23 and 27, and
Right.
so they're adults, and it's but they respect and always talk about the times when they're little fondly because I'd be gone for a couple months, but then I'd be home for a couple months.
Right. Whereas most other parents aren't,
Yeah, I'm there
right.
waking up and they go, "What do you want to do today? What's going on?" It's like, so I really enjoyed being. I still do enjoy being a father, but
Right. And so
it's really cool.
did kids get that dad was a bit of a rock star? Like did they get what you did, or did they just think dad went to work? Like as they got a little older, did they get it?
Yeah, I took them to. They've been to a few gigs. Kyle had three in the womb. That's what I say. He had three in the womb. He was born after a Lee's Palace gig in March 1999 during a snowstorm. It's
Oh
like
my.
I said, he had three in the womb, and I mean, he used to come to. We played at Shaw Convention Center in Edmonton, like there's 5,000 plus people, whatever, and we'd be doing sound check, and this is a giant PA in a place, and he'd be just sitting there snoring. I'm like, but you know what? They got to understand it as they got older and stuff, and that was really cool. So yeah.
Right. And so
So
are they musical by any chance?
my son, well, they both are. My daughter sings and plays guitar. My son is a brilliant guitar player, and he plays bass. He plays piano. Like he can sing, but he chooses not to. It was my dream, he says. It was really,
Oh. Well, and
but
good for him for figuring that out,
but he still plays guitar, and he's offered to play on some of my original stuff too. Because I was asking him during COVID, and he wasn't super comfortable with it. But I think he's starting to get more comfortable with the idea. So I'm like, come on, man! I'm a crappy guitar player. I'm four chords, man. Like he's really good, and I always got to do leads and stuff on my other things, my demos and things. So, and I'd love to have my daughter play too. She's in Vancouver right now, so. As long as she could get that part of sending WAV files and stuff like that and get it and has the time because she's in university. So I just gotta go,
for
whatever it is, it's my dream, not theirs. So
yeah,
I love them
100%
to be a
right.
part of it. And they've always been as long as much as they can be or want to be. How about that?
Right. Cool
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, and actually I heard that I was reading that you played with Teenage Head as well.
I had the
Back
fortune.
when Frankie was still with us.
Right. So bringing back to the hiatus, we went on the hiatus in '03. Because Hugh had gone back to rehabs back and forth like 5 or 6 times, and his sponsor finally just said, you got to get out of this in order to get sober.
Right.
So
I
he
get
did
that,
need
yeah.
to come off the road and excommunicate with everything that he had been doing and sort of find his own landing. So that's what brought him to sobriety, total sobriety, and then back into more of the acting stuff, which he had a lot more control of in that environment. So kudos to him.
Right.
That
100%.
brought us all kind of going, well, what the hell are we going to do now?
Yeah.
So Teenage Head had played with us a bunch of gigs too, and their drummer at the time needed he wasn't pulling it off anymore, like apparently. So they asked me to sit in and cover for him. So I ended up by doing I think about 6 gigs with them, and it was like with her. I don't want to say like their dads, but it was like because we were like the Generation X of Teenage Head, and they're always
Right.
the heroes of ours too. So it's like so it was fun, yes. And Frankie was very much alive, and I remember picking him up downtown sometimes and kind of going, "Who's this bum? Like, is this guy just got over a mission? Like and they go, "No, that's Frank." I'm like, "Oh, he's got all this shit in like a little grocery bag," and I was. Give me the smoke, Dale. It's like, but you know what? We get the hotel, and he would clean up, and we come back from sound check, and there was Frank Venom right there. He's like,
Right.
he's got his suit on, he's clean shaven, and he's all up, and he's just bright eyed, and like, my God, different guy. But
The metamorphosis has happened, and Frankie's now in the house, right?
yes, it was exactly.
Excuse me. I love Teenage Head, and Dave Rave's been on the show too, and you know, just a great, super great guy, and so you've had an opportunity to, because I was looking at the list of people that you played with, and it's pretty impressive. You've really had an opportunity, Dale, to play with artists that have very different genres. You know, like Teenage Head. Mind you, there's kind of a punk-ish theme.
Yeah,
you know, kind of between Headstones and Teenage Head, and
the swingy punk, like more, which was, yeah. I just, whatever, what Teenage Head sounds like, so I don't tell you what's happening. So,
right on. And you also played with Derek St. Holmes from Ted Nugent.
Yeah, that happened during that the hiatus as well. Luckily, my buddy Ross Catalino from Buffalo called me up and said, I put a band together for Derek. He's coming back. He's coming up from Nashville, and we want to do a slew of shows. So, like, okay, who's Derek St. Holmes? So, Stranglehold. I go, he's the guy saying Stranglehold? I go, I thought that was Ted Nugent. He goes, everybody thinks that. So I think Derek got really shafted on that sense, unless people were real absolute
diehard fans, yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote a lot of that earlier stuff and sang a lot of it. So, and he did his own stuff as well in the 90s with Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. They did the Whitford St. Holmes project. So Derek is an absolute joy to work with. Such a professional, such a talented dude. And we had Michael Hund as well playing guitar, and then his son Dylan, who was probably like 19 or 18 at the time, and he's like 6'5.5". He's giant.
Holy crap!
And but he looked like way older, and he was so talented. So he put this band together, and it was just amazing. So we became like a family basically. So there's talk about doing stuff in the new year down in Florida with Nashville and stuff. Now they can cross the border more freely, because COVID.
Right. How did COVID? Speaking of COVID, or I shouldn't assume that it did, but I'm assuming it did for most people. How did it change, Dale, your perspective on, just life in general? Like, did it shift your perspective on, things like what's really important? And
absolutely,
yeah,
I think it really did. I mean, you kind of find out the people that you can want to communicate with, and what is important as an integral person, because like when you don't have all those distractions like gigs and money, I gotta go make this money, I gotta do this stuff, blah blah. I mean, I did renos at my house because my lady was just like, well, we need to do something, so we got another area put here in a hot tub, so we built a little spa in the backyard. So
nice.
So, and then there was me, her, and my son in our bubble, and so she's a great cook. We got to hang out. We had a couple other neighbors that were close, and they were in our bubbles, and a couple family members. And and then you kind of go, that's all you really need. I mean, I go to the grocery store or the liquor store or the drug mart or whatever, and then that's all you can go to. We had the biggest lockdowns. We were like locked down for a total over 8 months.
Right.
Not able to really go anywhere. So that brought in the solo project stuff. I finally got off my ass and went, okay, I'm going to review all these demos I did. I did like 50-something demos over the years, and I've already looked at these things. So I started just categorizing that stuff too, and then asking my son and my wife, okay, so what do you like? I like that song. Okay, I'm going to work on that one first. So, that's how the 6 Foot Social Band got brewed. So, and I played a couple of albums with other people and different singles too. With Kent Azar, he did an album, and just a couple other singles for other people. And I recorded them in my basement, so it got me off my butt again.
Right.
Get all that set up properly so I can get things happening and get good levels, and then send people decent tracks from my basement. And they go, "That sounds great." I went downstairs in my track pants and did that. And it's like they're email, they're e-transferring me money, or not, or they love it. So
right,
it's just one of those things. So it became more of a labor of love rather than a necessity to make money.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, I think everybody just kind of.
But
I think everybody hung out in their jammies for a very long time. Right? It's like it's kind of like.
It's like thank God for that waistband expanding.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Excuse me. You know, Dale, I was going to ask you. Tell us about 6 Foot Social Band.
Um, that's it. Like I was saying, I just kind of it was kind of something that just revisiting demos that I've done over the years.
And that was one of them.
Yeah, so I had the first one was Sunny Days that I brought to when another member I used to play with in Groovestone, a band, cover band that I started that was funky or stuff. We'd had no name, so we're groovy, and I'm from the Headstones, so let's call it Groovestone. And then okay, it's still going now, and I'm not even in the band; I'm a sub for it. Um, but I used to tell people to come over for a 6 foot social because I have a chimney in my backyard, and I said bring a hockey stick, and that's 6 feet apart. And my buddies would come over, and they just bring a little case, like a little cooler, and we'd sit around and blast some music, and we'd have a fire, and we drink beer and stand 6 feet apart. So I went, that'd be a good name for a band. So I just called it 6 Foot Social, and then I realized that was Googling that and stuff would just drag you into absolutely everything that was pertaining to 6 Foot Socialing. So I put "and" at the end of it because it would just go, okay, that's specific. So, and again, it's just all stuff that's derived from my demos and the imagination of my amazing musical friends like Des Lely and Morris Raymond and Kevin Reed, Kojo Ferguson, John Jameson, Will. It just, I just give it to some guys that were really good at their craft and kind of go, well, what do you hear? I wrote this part on piano, but I hear slide guitar. What do you think? Oh, give it to me, man. So they would just run with this stuff, and was never very comfortable with my own voice anyway because I'm not.
But it sounds great. I got to tell you, it sounds great because I was listening to See How It Goes today, and I really really loved it. And I'm a huge Cohen fan. I'm a huge Leonard Cohen fan, and it's just it's a little bit dark and sort of trancy sounding and moody. And I was really impressed to hear that you wrote, you played all the instruments, and you sang, which is not the norm for you.
Well, no.
And I say bravo. I thought it was awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You kind of go, well, it's not too hard to imitate Leonard Cohen. As I was saying to my buddy last night, I was like, because well, how'd you come up with that? I went, because I was singing it higher and it sounded like it sounded barbershop, or it was like more, vaudeville thing. And I was like, see how it goes. And I was like, no, that's not going to be it. So I went, what if I did it really low? And then I did that version. I tried to get somebody else to sing it as well. And they said they even like my version better. So I said, okay, the hell with it. I'm just going to do it. And brought it to my neighbor, and he's really good at cleaning stuff up too. So he helped me clean up the track and make it sound appropriate. So I don't cringe when I listen to it. So thanks.
No, well done, well done. I really, really, truly enjoyed it, and I think you should sing more. I think honestly, you should give that a go.
Well, thanks. You're on my Christmas card list. I'm sending it
out.
Oh. What's your address?
Right on. Oh, guess who's on now? Michelle Truman's in the house.
Michelle, hey, Michelle, what's up, girl?
No, we love her. We love her. She's my girl. Yeah. So Michelle Truman, of course, is from the Toronto band, and she's just saying, Harrison with the horns high.
We have some history. I've known her for a while. She's awesome.
Yeah, super late. She's been on the show a few times as well. Stephen LaRue says, hi, Dale from Corbeil, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Corbeil, eh?
A.
Like A? Cool. Are you definitely Canadian? Michael Patchuluk is in the. Do you know Michael? So Michael's like a huge sound guy that has done sound and road managing for anybody you can think of. And he's just saying, hi, great interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to see him in the house. Yeah, Maggie Hall, hi, sweetheart, great interview. Gord Hughes. So cool, Dale, you sitting in with Teenage Head, and now Trent sitting in now.
Yeah, that's Gord right. I heard he did. He sat in. I mean, what? I'm still blown away what happened to Gord, but don't get too down about it. I mean, what are you gonna say?
Right. Yeah, that's Michelle says, haha, you both effing slay. See, I told you before the show, Dale, it's like the BBC here. You can pretty much just say what you want, have a drink.
Todd, I think she gave me the headlock last time I saw her. Hey, let's go.
Oh man, so I was thinking, Dale, when you were just talking about the way he was, spitting and does he trash your drum? Did he used to trash your drums?
He did. Trent, they all did. I mean, not so much Tim. I mean, Hugh did mostly, and Trent would walk on my toms sometimes and pop them all off. My old kit before I got to the Yamahas, but Yeah, I think that was probably during the last tour I was doing with them before I decided to leave. Was that my kit was getting trashed all the time, and I think it was just all a sign of not giving a shit as much about anything,
Right.
um, because usually, I've got a very expensive drum kit there, and I don't want to have to repair it every time I set it up.
Right.
It's nice to be the Who and everything else, but they used to just buy $20 guitars and smash the shit out of them after they played a finished song. But it was a lot of fun to do that, and I went through a lot of spare parts, and so I don't really do that as much anymore.
I guess not.
I just give it out of my own pocket.
Right? We all get so much better behaved when we grow up, like when we grow older. I shouldn't say grow up, because I think we should never really grow up totally. We don't want to grow up totally, but when we get a little bit older, and yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there were shenanigans though. Like can you tell us a good road story?
Well, I mean, since we're talking on the trashing the drum kit time, I mean, there was a time that Trent walked, like I was saying, on top of every one of my toms, and he snapped. Everything was mounted, if you get what I mean. Like even the floor toms, so they weren't on legs, and they would snap. He fell off that one, hit in the other one, and fell in the other things, and he basically broke every single tom off. So I had no toms left. And I think he threw his guitar in a net that hung from a stage. I think it was a place in Regina or Saskatoon. It was called the Bunker or something.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Shut up, Corey, stop listening. Jeez. Big thing, you don't listen, right?
He's running amok.
This was the plight of my kit all the time. So we were playing a friendship festival in Fort Erie. And we had just come back from out west for, I think it was like a 5-week run or something. And I was pulling my drum kit out of the cases, and the guys on the crew that were on the stage were going, "Oh my God, what smells like a goddamn brewery in here?" And it was my kit, because there would be so many beers just sprayed all over the stuff. So I pull out my kit, and it would just look like it'd been rolled around in dirt and cat piss. So, and it smelled that way. So I was like, and it was a Tama. I think at the time it was a Tama Swingstar chrome kit, and you couldn't even tell that it was chrome.
Oh no!
They're like, what the fuck is that? And I go, listen, can you get a towel and a bottle of water? And I basically set up the drum kit, and I just poured water all over it, and I just cleaned it off. And they go, that's rock and roll, man. That's rock and roll.
That's rock and roll right there, people.
It's like, not that I didn't care about my drums. It's just that you can't give too much of a shit when they're just there for a purpose, And but I mean, I have a lot of stories, Kelly, and I was trying to think about what I can say and not say on the show. But I'll just keep it down to there was always good times to be had like that.
We'll just play it safe, right?
Yeah. Broken glass stuck to them. Just don't get too close to that gear,
Yeah. I did one show, Dale, that was nothing but crazy road stories, and people from all over Canada sent in their road stories, and it was just a hoot.
Well, let's do another one of those.
Well, let's do one of those.
PG and plus.
But it's being on the road was because I was on the road for like 23 years too, and there were a lot of shenanigans, and so thankfully we all lived.
Right.
We all lived, to tell the tale.
And it's not just the gigs; it's the travel.
The traveling, like the
freaking snowstorm through the mountains and stuff.
Yep.
And you're like, what the hell are we gonna get there?
Yeah. Just you gotta just soldier on, and I also want to mention Deadwood Valley, because I don't want to miss that. And I was listening to Never Look Back today. Another just great, straight up, in your face rock and roll tune. You got a lot of stuff on the go.
Yeah, you know what? And that's really cool. Like my old buddy that I went to high school, Andy McEwen, who's still in Ottawa. I guess him and the guys are Ottawa to Quebec. They're sort of bouncing back and forth. But during COVID, we already hooked up. But during COVID, we had a lot of FaceTime stuff because he couldn't do much else. And he's a great singer and a songwriter, but he didn't play anything. And he's like, and he goes, during COVID, I can't do anything. I can't write with anybody because this and that. And I said, go buy a freaking guitar. And he did. So he ordered a guitar online and got it, and then got a chord book and went online and stuff. And he started learning more and more songs. And then he's like, hey, I'm writing this, I write that. And then with that song, he's like, I'm writing it, but it's a little bit about stories you've told me and about my life. And I said, that could be like, I've got to say, a little Headstone sounding song. it's just a out in your face rocker. And I said, well, let's speed it up and let's rearrange it and let's do some shit. And he goes, I know some great guitar players and another bass player guy, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, you got Ian and you've got, who else did he get? Dave. So anyway, these guys turned out to be really good. And it wasn't an intentional try to sound like something that it came from. But I am playing drums on it, and I did write with the Headstones for
Right.
20 years, right? Like it's 20 something years. So I'm like, so there's, yeah. So guess what? I wrote a bunch of those songs too, and this is what this is. And I think it's refreshing. It's cool, you know.
It is great. You know, it is. It's just like I said, straight up rock and roll, which I'm a fan of. And it's funny that you should say that, Dale, because when I was listening to it today, and I did think, oh, it's got little nuances of the Headstones, and why wouldn't it? You know, why wouldn't it? There's a member of the Headstones making the music.
That's why
right?
I thought I'd throw it out there first, because everybody's thinking, well, reminds me of something, Dale. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Dale, can I ask why you chose to leave the Headstones?
Well, I you know what? It was just a matter of time for me to do it. I was cusping 50, and I was like, what am I going to do in my life? I mean, is this going to be it? Like, I'm just doing this. I know I got to play with Alannah Myles. I played with that one, Teenage Head, and God bless. I'm not a big religious guy. When I say God bless, I mean,
I get it though.
I feel blessed. You know what
It's
I mean?
gratitude.
Those are the things. I'm grateful for that. But I think I need to do something else. And I finally had somebody that was really cool and stable in my life, Maureen. And I've got a great relationship with my kids going on. And I said, do I need to just be on the bench whenever I'm being called out to do something else? And I just felt like it was just time for me to have more control of what I wanted to do. So, and they can always get another guy to replace me in the Headstones. So it's not like I'm irreplaceable. It's if Keith and Mick show up, it's still the Headstones. So if Trent and you are still there, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be the Headstones. So I just said, okay, well, I took some time off. And then at the end of that time off, I went, yeah, it's what I really wanted to do. I took a few months to really ponder it. How about that?
Good for you. Like, because it takes guts. It really does to leave something that's, kind of already set and it's established and it's successful but I think I can understand too if you get to a point where you just want to explore other avenues and maybe grow, because I think you grow through just playing with different artists. And is there anybody on your bucket list, Dale, that you would just absolutely love to play with?
Well, there's tons of people. But,
yeah.
I mean, of course. I mean, my buddy, like you've had Todd Kearns on there too. So I've known Todd when he was in Age of Electric back in the day too.
Right.
And Brett Fitz and stuff. So when we played years ago with them, all they're playing with Slash, and I was like, "What the fuck? These guys are playing with Slash? Like, how
I know,
cool is that?"
right?
Like you guys, it's awesome, man. And they're all in black and stuff at the freaking airport, looking like tough fucking bod rockers, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm in shorts with my fucking sandals on, going, "Hey guys, Headstones playing with Slash." But yes, there's a ton of other people that I look to play with. And of course, if I knew the inside crew, I'd love to go and play with the Foo Fighters. I mean, that would be another thing. It was just like, okay, that would be a dream gig. But I better start jogging and getting on my bicycle again so I can keep up with those guys.
Right.
Which I think I could do. So it's not. But like again, I think the possibilities are still endless of what you can do, and even if it's just sitting down writing a song and playing with them, that'd be a really cool thing to do as well.
Great, love that band. Good call on having them on your bucket list. There would it be nice if Dave Grohl was watching and just called you up?
Grohl, come on! Hawkins, God rest
I'm sure he watches this show.
Yeah, he's there.
Probably not.
Hawkins and I knew each other from when he was playing with Sass Jordan. And Seth Jordan was playing with Headstones, and we got to know each other back in the 90s. And then we ran into each other again when he was playing with Jagged Little Pill with Alanis Morissette.
Alanis, yeah.
And then I ran into in Austin, Texas when I was down there doing some stuff. We had some beers and chicken wings in the hotel lobby and stuff. So him and I would run into each other every 5 to 7 years. And it'd be like, he's like, hey, my American brother, or my Canadian brother. It's like, and it was a shame, man, to hear
What a loss, hey?
like, serious loss. Like, such a talented guy, man.
What a loss.
Anyway, but that's
So
what rock and roll isn't, right? It's
yeah,
just been happening a little bit.
that's
You
how
know.
it goes. And so I'm just curious, what was the last concert you saw?
The last concert I saw was the Eagles.
Oh, cool. Was that just this year?
Yeah, it was. Well, the last, yeah, I guess the last big concert I saw was the Eagles, um, and it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. God, it's just so good to be able to. That was what I missed the most, truthfully, during the whole lockdown. Was just that's my social life is live music, right? That's that's what I do, kind of thing. And so I really, really miss the concert, and so I've been going to as many as I can. And so my last one was Brian Adams, and then I saw
Yeah,
Styx.
yeah, it was Adam.
Styx before that. Oh my God, Styx was incredible.
That was killing with it with Styx.
Oh,
I saw them early, like a long time ago, and I just don't want to bug them. I just gotta. Hey, how's it going there? Yeah, I know everybody, and and Todd Zuckerman is a killer drummer.
killer drummer, yeah. Killer.
Yeah, so it's like I'm like, okay, well, I'll go and check them out again very soon, for sure. But so you saw Adams, that was killer. Like,
No, it was just amazing. Yeah, it was kind of a scaled down show, but I mean, the one thing that I was really taken back by was that I forgot how many hits the guy has.
nonstop.
Like, you just I forgot about this. I had so many beautiful ballads and yeah, it was just amazing. And Styx as well. Like, if I two concerts so far this year, I'm pretty grateful that I saw those two because I'd never seen Styx before. And Gowan was on the show. Lawrence Gowan was on the show maybe a month before.
I watched that show. I watched clips and stuff of the other shows too to know what to expect. But
cool, yeah. And then he's such a nice guy. Like, he's so huge and he's stupid. Yeah, he actually texted me after the concert. And hey, did you enjoy the show? How are your seats? And I was like, what is happening right now? Yeah. So here's a question for you. I get a little more. This is the Barbara Walters portion of the show.
Barbara Walters, let's go. Hey,
bring it on.
I'm not going to see anybody needs a slap once in a while.
Okay, so now I got to stop laughing. Okay, I'm just going to ask you what makes you happy these days?
Doing things like this.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. Now you're on my Christmas card list. See how that goes?
You know what? I gotta say, I'm really pretty damn content because I'm getting some personal things done, which are like just personal things. There's like, okay, I got my backyard in order. I got things put away. Things are winterized. I put a single out that I sang on that I said, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks anymore because I'm just tired of giving a shit. So put it out as long as it's not rubbish and I can listen to it over again, then I'm happy with that. The Deadwood Valley coming out, and some of the amazing gigs that I get to play with and people. And I've got a beautiful family and a beautiful woman who supports me. So I really honestly can't say I need for anything else. I mean, I have a motorcycle in the summer too, so I get to boot around on my motorcycle, and there's the freedom of that. I like cycling. What makes me happy, getting up in the morning and not feeling wretchedly tired or anything else, and having an agenda that I can accomplish. And if not, I write it down in a list, much like this on a bill, and I start checking it off. And then I go, well, I got that much done today. Cool. Now I can have a beer.
Right. I get that, and it sounds. I like that. I like that because I think, I don't know about you, but I'm getting the kind of feel like, I think as we get a little bit older, I think it just shifts. I think, what becomes important to us shifts. And maybe, when I was younger, it was always about the big things, the material, and I find it's really shifted. And maybe COVID had a little bit to do, with that as well. But I find that, I'm kind of like you. I just want to be, because there's a difference between joy and happy. There really is. And I learned this. Happiness is fleeting. If you sit down and eat an amazing gourmet meal, you're happy. And then, 10 minutes later, it's done. Right. So I think the ticket is joy, joy is linear and it's just even and constant. And I think what you just described is joy because, it's just waking up and being happy and sort of being at peace with your family and your station in life as it is and not really wanting for anything. And that's a good place to be in, I think.
Well, absolutely. And I realized that I have some really good friends.
Yeah.
And that brings me joy because I kind of go, I know I can count on these people and they also know me. So when I screw up, they also forgive me and we move on. or I'll do that for them, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's not this judgmental thing, you know. When I was touring hard and stuff with different bands and stuff, people meet you in a different light and they expect you to be a certain way. And if you're not that way, then they're either let down or surprised or something else too. But who's genuine in your life? That's what
Right.
COVID brought to light for a lot of people, you know, including myself. So
Right.
yeah, just makes me happy there, and that I do have that plethora of good friends. You know?
Plethora, a great
I
word.
wanted to use that word.
We're holding on to that all day
Yeah.
long.
I want another plethora.
Right on. Everett Mercer, hi Everett, good to see you. He's just saying, you know, just thanks, hello. Sam Taylor says Dale is the real deal. Yes, he is.
Oh, Sam, thanks, bro. You are too. Sam Taylor is super talented, man.
Great musician and great dude.
Yeah.
That's what she has to say about you, Dale.
Yeah.
And Everett is saying, Everett Mercer is saying, what a fantastic and interesting career that you're sharing with us tonight. Awesome. Just So what are you most proud of, Dale? Like, what are you most proud of when you think of, you know, personal accomplishments? And so many guests think that they don't want to sound like they're being arrogant or bragging, and that's not what the question's about. You know, something that you look back on and just that you're just proud of.
Well, as far as accomplishments go, I don't know if you're talking music. I mean, there's some albums and songs that I'm really, really happy and I've been part of that, and including some of the newer stuff that I'm putting out. I think that's sort of always at the front of your mind when you're putting out something new, because it's fresh. Although I still probably find myself listening to it like way too many times before anybody else hears it. So, but I just have to say my biggest accomplishments are having my kids, you know, and having them grow up and get through the shitty years and get out of the other end of it, you know. And so they're still intact. They're well-being, they're well-adjusted young adults now. And to me, that is like the biggest accomplishment beyond all the other things that I could say that are accolades.
That's a great answer. I love that answer. They're just, you know, they're good humans, right? Like they're decent, productive humans. And really, what more do we want for our kids? And we just want them to be. I don't have kids, but if I did, that's all I would want for them. I
hope for them, right? You know, and it's like I kind of go, yeah, I did want it to be the hallmark answer of some sort, but it's like, I really like the song "Smile Away," man, and you know, rocks, man. I do, but if I had to choose that over that, I would take my kids and getting from point A to B with them too, and looking forward to the end of the day for me or whatever. You know what I mean? Just going forward. You know?
Yeah. And fearless. Just you guys got to be fearless too. I think, right?
Yeah.
100%.
And so around. Right here.
Here's a question for you, because I always find this an interesting topic to kind of wind down here. What is your opinion on the huge advancement in technology? Like, as far as the music industry goes, is it friend or foe for you? I bet you hate drum machines, or maybe not. I don't know.
Well,
but in all seriousness, do you think that, you know, like, say, you know, from back to the 80s, you know, to the way it is now, like the surge in technology, do you think it's a help or a hindrance, in your opinion?
I think it helps people write songs. Which is like myself, I can write shit at home, you know, and it sounds just as good as some shit that got put out before.
Right.
I mean, as far as drum machines go, people they're still going back, even in the rap, trip hop stuff or whatever, or R&B, they're going back to the first drum sounds, to the Linn drums, like, you know, that those good sounds. But there's people that love, like, there's a package called Easy Drummer. And there's a pile of great grooves in there, wicked sounds that I can't even get in my basement. And somebody can just kind of basically just start manipulate them. So they're creating music at home. So yes, it's a completely different entity right now. So the days of the big budgets and going into a studio with the band and writing an album in a studio and then doing it live off the floor and stuff, it seems to be fleeting. You know, like it's less and less of that for sure. So friend or foe, it's I don't think we have much of a choice about where it's going to go. I mean, it's here, you know.
Right.
It would be nice to be able to have those budgets and stuff to be able to kind of have a band that plays together and goes out and tours together, to sit in a room and write all the music, and then go out and keep doing it live off the floor like the Beatles did. There's a take 35, whatever. It's like, oh, that's the one. It's like that doesn't happen anymore. It's like take 2.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna fix that in post. They just go ahead and fix it up, right?
Right.
So it's
Definitely pros and cons. I personally, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. I kind of pine for the days, I don't know why I get nostalgic, but when I think of the days back, when I was on the road and we're learning new songs, and I just, I have these fond memories of being up in the hotel room with the tape recorder, writing out a lyric, and and just there was something so old school about that. And when you went to see a band, they weren't everywhere. Like you had to go to a concert to see the band you loved, and you know what I mean? Like there was this mystique about it all, and it just seems like now that with technology, anybody and their dog can just pump music on it. So there's this, just being overwhelmed with music. Although I will say during the COVID whole lockdown thing, I was sure grateful for technology. So
right. I'd held off with the Spotify thing forever until we sort of came out of COVID, and then I was like, I'm not doing that. Well, I'll do the free one, but you couldn't do the playlist. You seen that? The playlist?
Yeah.
But then I started coming out of it and grabbing everything that I could to start working again, with classic albums and this and that. And it's like, and then where am I going to get the music? iTunes? You're buying, I'm going to the CD store? Like, so Spotify also, they go, what is it? Oh, it's a live version of this from the greatest hits. Okay, just created a playlist. I get my phone, plug it into my headphones, and go down to my studio in the basement, and I can start playing along with the album immediately.
Right.
It's just so that is really convenient. Like having the world at your touch, all of music at your touch, right?
Yeah, 100% for sure. So Bruce is saying goodnight, Dale. See you.
Bruce, okay.
Thanks for popping in,
Bruce. Say hi to everybody. Give him hugs.
Brian McIntyre, do you know him?
Yeah, he's an old debate of mine. Brian, what's up?
He's saying hello. My cousin John Shorten's in the house here. Hey, cousin John. Hey, cuz. He's just saying great interview, and he's a military man, so we love him for his service.
Nice.
So if you could wave a wand, and whatever, where do you see yourself in the future, ideally?
No.
5 years from now, let's just go with 5 years down to you. Where do you see yourself in a perfect world?
In a perfect world, I would probably have a beautiful place down in Mexico somewhere, a nice tiki kind of place, and I'd have my own blues and jazz bands, and have piano nights, and that's where I want to retire. I swear.
That sounds beautiful. Yeah, hang out, drink some Mai
Tais.
Tais.
Here, come and visit family, and and things like that, and just live down there. And my friends that want to come down, I'll have space for them, and they can pay their way by playing with me on some afternoon things, or something. I don't want to do something like that.
Right. And that's doable. Like that. I mean, there's people doing it, right? And so one other person is doing it. Why the heck not you, right? I mean.
Well, and this is it. I think Maureen and I are in search with a couple people that are like-minded like that. So we're finding a crew. So we could go and find an area and sort of nest, a bunch of Canadians down there. And kind of go, here's our little villa, and this is what's happening, and everybody's cool. Let's come and hang,
Right. That sounds like a great plan, and yeah.
Just writing and putting out music, that's it.
You'll always do that. I think because you're, and this as well as anybody does. It's not what you do. It's who you are, man. Like it's like breathing, right? Like it's like breathing for
you. Yourself, you're still doing it too, right?
I'm not. It's been quite a while since I performed live, and I get asked that quite often, and I'd really like to get together with some local people and jam. But truthfully, I'm so freaking busy these days, and I'm a writer, so I write for a magazine during the day, and then now I have another full-time job. Like I'm just really, really busy. But this show, I'm finding, as in the season of my life, I guess you could say, I'm really enjoying this. This is like my new musical baby that I obsess over.
You're really good at it, and it's awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Dale, our Canadian artists have just been so kind and so, in the beginning, I was like, I still sometimes can't believe when a guest says yes. Every time I just got, and then sometimes I'll have these nightmares where it's like, nobody wants to come on the show anymore, and nobody wants to watch it anymore. Like, those odd dreams that you have. Like, did you ever have those when
Oh
when
yeah,
you
absolutely.
were on the road and it's like your drum kit disintegrates and you're in your pajamas and stuff like that.
Everything's in the wind.
Yeah, but no, I just this show is my passion and my my it's what makes me wake up in the day, and I love harassing rock stars, and they're always so kind to me, and so this is what I want to do, and we'll see how it goes, see where it goes from here,
Yeah,
and
it goes.
see what goes, shall we?
I've been writing screenplays and stuff too. I wrote a musical with my buddy Pat Kelly, and we've been trying to shop it for a long time too. And I've written some other things that were more of the macabre end of things, and it's again another outlet, right? For me, it has to be some kind of creative outlet.
Right.
I mean, I was painting houses and I'm doing drywall repair during COVID and stuff because my wife's in real estate. So it's like, as long as it's creative to me and it keeps you occupied and you enjoy it, just keep doing it, right?
Right.
I mean,
it's just creativity oozing out another pore, really, whether you're writing or performing or, engineering, producing all these, different hats that you wear. It's, it's just all boils down to that creativity.
Yeah. And then people say it's the side hustle. I go, I don't like saying side hustle. My other thing that I used to do when I had every crappy apartment in Toronto before I bought a house.
That was a side hustle.
Picks up was to learn how to do this and do this. And as long as you know how to do that, it's a skill you have. And apparently other people don't have those skills. So when they're in need of it and they trust you with the key to their house.
Silly people.
No, they're awesome. But yeah, how fortunate is that, right?
We're absolutely to wake up and
a fantastic job, Kelly. So
thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah, thank you. Any plans for Christmas?
I think we're just going to be chilling out here.
Cool.
Yeah, this year it's just going to be a chill Christmas at home. I think
sometimes those are the best ones. Sometimes
most of the family will come and visit us. We do have
Nice.
a house and a couple of extra rooms, so it's like gratefully,
Great.
So it's like, and they all want to get in the hot tub at Christmas.
Of course.
It runs year round, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm actually going back to Saskatchewan for 9 days, and so my biggest hope is just please don't lose my luggage. We had a big discussion on Facebook about that, and and Mark Gladstone was talking about these luggage tags that you can get where you can track down your luggage and
some iPhones or your phone, right?
Yeah. So speaking of that, speaking of Mark Gladstone, just a shout out there, everybody. Next week, Todd C. Goddard, Gary Grace, and Mark Gladstone from Prism will be here. So so I'll pop in for that. Dale, I can't thank you enough for hanging with us tonight and just being such a fantastic guest. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your lady, Maureen. Is it Maureen?
Maureen, yeah.
To you and Maureen, and wishing you all things amazing in 2023, and we'll stay in touch and we'll bring you back next year.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
You as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm Kelly Barrett. Until we see you next week, stay safe and sane. Be really nice to each other.